Good afternoon, everyone. I am Robin McLaughlin, Associate Alumni Director here at Northwood University. Thank you for joining us today for our March Alumni webinar, Increase Your ROI by Investing in Your ROR, with our esteemed speaker, Katrina Wagner. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that if you have any questions during today's webinar, please use the Q&A feature to submit those. We'll have time at the end to address your questions. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker. Katrina has spent the last 18 years as an entrepreneur, launching and scaling businesses by leveraging the power of relationships. After graduating from Northwood University in international business, business management, and advertising, she built her first company right away out of college. In late 2019, her and her husband relocated their family to Raleigh, North Carolina, where she launched a franchise insurance agency just as the pandemic reshaped the business landscape. Where others saw obstacles, Katrina saw opportunities. Instead of retreating, she doubled down on her business by investing in relationships, a strategy that defined odds and fueled her success. Now, Katrina is sharing her playbook and business success in her #1 bestseller and #1 international bestseller book, Build Your Social Capital, a guide to thriving in business through the power of relationships. Now, please join me in welcoming Katrina.
Thank you so much. It is such a thrill to be among other alumnus from Northwood University, a place I cherish and memories that have served me well and education that has served me well. And so our topic today is, in fact, understanding the power of relationships and how it impacts your life and how it impacts your business. I can say for myself, I do not aim to be an influencer. I do, however, aim to be a woman of influence. I have found that the measure of influence that you have is in relation to the relationships that you have and how much you invest in those relationships. And so if you're here building a business, starting out, or if you're a few years in or find yourself in a pivot, the greatest relationship that you have in your life can literally be the best asset to growing your life and your business. And so that's what leads us to ROR, return on relationships. It is literally a blueprint on how to build a life and a business. So if you're looking to build a coalition of people who know what you need, can spot those opportunities, and will say your name in rooms that you haven't set in, this is for you. I'm living proof that you can move somewhere where you know 0 people, even during a pandemic, and you can build a business within 4 years that is in a place where someone else says, hey, would you be open to selling that asset? I was open to selling, and I realized that I applied everything that I'm going to be telling you about to build that business in just those 4 years. So during our time together in roughly the next 25 minutes, we're going to be looking at these 6 key areas. When choosing to invest in your return on relationships, I find that the first area has to be your messaging. Messaging is a part of how you prepare, what you do, who you serve, and how you help. It also enables other people to get to know you. So I work with personal brand businesses, and I have found that messaging is one of the key areas. It is more important than even some of your processes. If your messaging is off, no one will know how good your product is. The second area of ROR is build trust. There are many ways that you've learned to build trust in your life. We're going to explore ways that you can do and be better at building trust now that you know ROR. The third area is to communicate your ideal client. The fourth is to seek first to give. A lot of people like that part. The fifth area is commit to follow up immediately. And the last area we'll discuss is how to acknowledge referrals. The first of our 6 areas is indeed messaging mastery. In my book, Build Your Social Capital, it is right here. I'm so proud of it. It is such an amazing endeavor to build a book. I did put the page numbers if you happen to grab a copy where you can find where we talk about this. On page 58, I mentioned when it comes to mastering your messaging, you can be the best in your work. You can be the best service provider. But if you can't market it and you can't sell it, then really you don't have a business. You just have a product or a service, but you don't have any sales. So your messaging, so many people think they have to cast a wide net in order to be successful, when in reality, If you understand who you serve, I usually call it those who have the highest propensity of needing and buying your service. If you focus on that percentage of highest propensity to buy, it allows you to craft messaging that is far more clear. Have you ever been in a situation like on Thanksgiving and there's 8, maybe 10, 12 people in the kitchen? If you were to walk into the kitchen and say, "Hey, will you pass me that?" You'll get 10, 12 people looking around at you saying, "Will who? Pass you what?" You see, when it comes to messaging, when we cast a wide net, we tend to lose people because nobody knows who we're talking to, what we're talking about. And when we talk in generalities, while we think we're doing a better job by casting that I can appeal to everybody, we're actually losing people. If your ideal client can't see themselves in your messaging, that's the greatest opportunity. Number 2, words matter. How you start and end if you're marketing using social media is critical. I can't tell you how many times I see people coming on their Instagram stories and they take the first few seconds and they say, "Hey guys, good morning. Just waiting for everybody," or if they're doing a live, "Just waiting for everybody to get on." What a waste of your time and effort. You should be able to grasp with whatever your question is, your hook, however you begin, that important time should never be wasted. Therefore, words matter. How you start and how you end your videos. Ending your videos with a call to action, meaning what do you do next after you've seen this video? Later today at the end of our webinar, I'll give you an example of a strong call to action. You need to understand that messaging, how you start and how you stop, critical. Don't let any of it go to waste. On average, people, when they start their business accounts, have an average of 3 seconds of watch time. So every second counts. The next area is when it comes to messaging, I like to call it build your messaging muscle. Because just like when we go to the training, to the gym to train, if we're not used to working out any certain muscle, that muscle is going to hurt the first few times we exercise. Having a trainer make sure that you do it properly and with the right form, makes sure that you effectively work out the areas that you're trying to build. The same comes with communicating and messaging. If it's been a while since you have taken a course on communication, or if you've never taken a course on how to utilize social media properly for marketing, I would encourage you to invest. What got you into business 15 years ago and through the first 15 years? If you find yourself in a pivot, understanding how to use the platforms or the methodologies that are available now will be important. What used to work 15 years ago doesn't apply. And quite honestly, what worked 2 years ago has changed also. So strengthen your skills by investing and training. The fourth area I would say when it comes to mastering your messaging is the streetlights of life will never be all green. If you find yourself wanting to implement a new process, go after a new product launch, or maybe start a new side business, the world will never give you everything is great. Now is a perfect time. It just won't. So what I have found is when we spend too much time waiting for things to change or to be perfect, we're going to be waiting a long time. Therefore, usually the change that needs to happen comes from within. I usually tell my clients, it doesn't matter whether you start big or you start small. The most important thing is that you start, which leads us to our next area. If you have, I work with a lot of people on messaging. So when it comes to messaging, you have to understand for your product, your service, and how you're positioned. Knowing how your ideal client makes decisions helps you craft your messaging. Now, if we had more time, I would dive into an amazing approach of how to understand buyer mentality and buyer strengths. For our times today, I'm going to focus on, do they buy on logic or do they buy on emotion? Now, again, let's not get in the practice of saying, well, I help a lot of people and a lot of people make decisions using a variety of different approaches. While this is true, I would encourage you to understand your ideal client, the person, if you could have on repeat, how do they make their buying decision on whether or not they work for you, they choose you to work with? If it's based on logic, your messaging has to focus on methodologies, frameworks, data, proof, social proof, evidence that says they can trust you to guide them to the end result. So if your decision maker is based on logic, your messaging has to be rooted in the frameworks that make them say, I trust that they can get the end result done. On the other hand, if you work with the end user, your ideal client makes decisions based on emotion, then they want to look for an opportunity to engage with you in your messaging where you create connection, you create a universe that they like coming to. Maybe on your social profiles, do you have your personal brand, shining through? I will tell you that building a personal brand is your greatest opportunity if you are in a business that allows you to build a personal brand. Those who buy on emotion want connection to you. Therefore, sharing stories, telling stories about what you used to do or what you do, but telling stories also about how your work impacts your client's life. Those are gold. When it comes to messaging, if your ideal clients make decisions based on emotion, bring your personality, they create the world where people say, oh my gosh, I just love her or love him. Whatever your brand is, allow people to know who you are and build your brand. The next area is about building trust. The art of meeting people. Now, this is something that hasn't changed in history. When you meet someone, people desire to feel appreciated. One way you can help people feel appreciated is by taking notes of what is important to them that they share with you. Now, in conversations, people can share a ton of information, even in a small little chit chat. I do encourage you, take notes. I find that as I age, even remembering big details can be difficult. Therefore, what I do is in the contact section of my phone, where I keep their phone number, I do save the notes section with notes related to the people that I'm meeting. It allows it to be easy to grab if I'm going to be meeting them for coffee again or meeting them for sushi. I can look up on my notes and make sure that I remember any small details that they shared with me. On page 5 of my book, I do share how that act of remembering small details made a huge impact. I'll tell you a quick story. I was working at the early pandemic, growing my insurance business, and I was meeting brand new people. I met this one woman, Dana. She was from Louisiana, and she now lives here. She's a realtor, so she would have been a great referral partner for me moving forward. But we had just met. We didn't really know each other. So I friended her on Facebook. And you know, at that time, there were questionnaires where it was like this or that, like coffee or tea, night or morning person, that kind of stuff. Well, I took note of some of the things that she was writing down, and she shared with the this or that. A few weeks in the future, she had had foot surgery. And so I reviewed the this or that, the notes that I took, and I dropped her off her favorite Haagen-Dazs ice cream, a lavender candle, because that was her favorite, and a packet of her favorite candies. And I dropped it off at her house. To this day, she does say, I never knew how you knew so much about me when we had just met. Taking notes is critical. The next area, we've all heard of the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. All well and good. When I'm talking about return on relationships, friends, it can't be all about you. Therefore, I'll introduce you to the platinum rule. And the platinum rule suggests treat people the way they want to be treated. This is so powerful because in the way that you show appreciation to someone, if you give the gifts that you like best, you risk giving them something that they can't enjoy. Case in point, I don't like chocolate, never have. I know it's crazy, but when people give me their favorite chocolates, I appreciate the offer, but that's not something I can enjoy. The platinum rule suggests that in business and in life, when we invest in learning about other people, we can really understand how we can have great relationships based on treating people the way they want to be treated. The next area I would say is when people ask you, so what is it that you do? If you answer with your industry or your title, you are foregoing a great opportunity for building lasting relationship. Quick example would be if you are a photographer. If someone asks you, hey, so what is it that you do? And you answer bold and just say, listen, I'm a photographer. The risk that you run is this. Perhaps the person in front of you hates having their picture taken. And the last time they went to a photographer, they made them pose and sit straight, and they made them move their head in a way that was uncomfortable. When you only answer with your title or your industry, you are removing any chance that you have to demonstrate what you do, how it's unique, how you serve your clients differently, and you rely on the past experience of the person in front of you to associate their past experience with somebody who does something like you. And so when it comes to messaging, the art of meeting people is critical. How you position the answer. So what is it that you do? Great opportunity. As we move on, I have found that building your business by referral, while you would think, I want as many referral partners as possible, well, time does run out. And so this is what I recommend. You choose 5. Choose 5 of the highest quality associates that you have in your inner circle, and you focus on going deep in that relationship. So those 5 referral partners, you engage on social media. You're the first to congratulate when they share something praiseworthy. You are the first person to invite them to engagements. Your goal is to somehow get on each other's calendar at a face-to-face experience and have something that's shared time together. Coffee, that's nice. Sushi lunch, that's lovely. But what I do know to be true is that coffee and sushi do not form shared experiences. Shared experiences is a time where a memory can be created, where it's something that you shared. That's your ultimate goal, sharing experiences with your referral partners. From there, you get to build trust. At some point, they or you will give the first referral. Now, the first referral experience is a time for you to practice what your process is and refine it. Sometimes that first referral does not end in closed business, and that's okay. What you do want to show appreciation for is the fact that the referral was created in the first place. Just like in raising children, you want to recognize the behaviors you want to see more of. So even if that first referral does not end in closed business, I do encourage you, refine the process, reciprocate, and continue to repeat that process, focusing on 5 to begin with. And once you have 5, if you find that this one is not a good referral partner, that one can go to the side and a new one comes in, but focus on building 5 to begin with. Success step number 3. There are 3 areas that we need to train our referral partners on to be good referral partners for us. And likewise, we need to be trained from them. The 3 areas are what to look for, what to listen for, and how to respond. I was working with a referral partner. She specialized in divorce proceedings in real estate. When she told me what her specialty was, I found myself a little verklempt. I didn't know how to bring up her in terms of when I found out someone was having a divorce. That was kind of a hard conversation. So what she trained me to do was what to listen for. That would be a good referral for her. What to look for, listen for, and then the most important was how to respond. What she told me to say was, going through a divorce must be so difficult. Would it be helpful for you to know someone who specializes in divorce proceedings so that you can sell your primary home with transparency and that you and your ex, when you go to buy your next home, you can do so with confidence that the process was done fairly? Would knowing somebody that specializes in that be helpful? Having those words that she trained me to say was a lot better than how to come up with something on my own. So in building your sales team, your referral partners, you have to train them what to look for, what to listen for, and most importantly, how to respond. Because when you teach them how to respond, those referral partners become champions for you. They recognize opportunities and they know what to say to bring that opportunity ahead. That's when you start to be a business of one and have a sales team of many. That for me is how I've built my business. The next area is about seek first to give. There are many different areas that you can classify a referral. Nobody likes a cold call. So friends, giving just a name and a number to somebody and say, hey, give them a call. Tell them I called you. Friends, that's not a referral. I'm talking about getting to the number 5, where you hold a face-to-face introduction, where you facilitate that meeting between your referral partner and the potential client. That kind of experience is shared. And remember, a shared experience creates memory. Those kinds of investments into each other's business, I have found that when you invest that kind of action and that kind of time in other people, they start investing that in you too. And a high quality referral, number one, closes faster, have less objections, and they stay with you longer. So if you want to be a good referral giver, you have to be willing to invest and give time and effort. What I have found when building your ROR, you have to be willing to invest in being a good learner about your referral partners. You also have to remember the law of reciprocity means that if they give you a referral, you have to be just as willing to step out with confidence, look for, listen for, and activate opportunities that you see on their behalf. You know that your network, has been said, is your net worth. Now, I think the people that you know and work with in life have more to do than just your bottom line. So I have found that investing in relationships is super critical. The areas that you can classify people in that you work with are they a synergy partner? Somebody who does the same thing as you do, meaning they work in the same industry or process, but their client is the same as yours, but they are not your competitor. That is an opportunity for great success. Strategic partners are people who are outside of your normal workflow, but people commonly ask you about it. When I was in insurance, people ask me all the time, do you know a good towing company? Or do you know a good car repair shop? So people who are not necessarily in your sequence of operations, but are a part of your process. Social partners are the onesie twosie a year kind of thing, but they are your dedicated go-to. Like I have an embroiderer. I don't get asked about embroidery often, but when I do, I know exactly who I'm sending them to. So looking at your network and figuring out who's a synergy, strategic, or social partner is critical. The power of a power team is that people who have the shared clients that you have but are not your competitor are your greatest opportunities for referrals. An example of this would be in Tears, if Mary bought your soap, Mary then referred her client, Claudia. Cool. Then Claudia referred you to her sister, Samantha. Excellent. But this is where life changes because Samantha introduces you to a boutique shop who buys your product on repeat. We call her a power team. And so Amy, the boutique shop owner, for example, now refers you to every client that comes into the store and your business now booms. So building your business by referral, I do not think comes on one referral at a time, rather focused on what relationships take us to the maximum output. The commit to follow-up makes sure that you and I as referral partners have a quality assurance program, which means when you send me a referral, I'm going to follow up immediately to make sure that the client feels respected and that I am an extension of your process. That portion of it is critical, the commit to immediate follow-up. The last area is when you are given a gift, what is the natural response? You say thank you. And so I have found that there are a variety of ways to say thank you. One of the greatest ways is by investing your marketing dollars together with your referral partners to have what I call high impact events. High impact events where their clients, your clients, everybody's referral partners can all come together and create a shared experience. These are three examples. You can have a sponsored event, invite-only event, or annual event. Whatever type of event, it has to be rooted in experience. And that's when your marketing dollars go and work for you more than any other way you could spend. And so if you're looking to grow your network of people, to create opportunities where they see your vision and you see theirs, and you work together to create that opportunity for each other, then you have return on relationships. These are all examples of events that I've had in my own business that have produced amazing relationships, continued commitment, and I've even had people who have promised, even though the market was shifting and prices in insurance, for example, were raising, they wouldn't leave me because I've invested so much in them. I hope that same opportunity is available for you. And so we've covered quickly today messaging, building trust, communication, being first to give, follow up immediately, and the last area, acknowledge referrals. And so if you've enjoyed your time learning about return on relationships, there are three ways I can follow up with you and be a part of your engagement. The first, if you'd like to find a copy of my book, Build Your Social Capital, it is available on Amazon. If you'd like to take the QR code, that'll take you directly to an area you can order it, and I will send you an author-signed copy myself. The middle section is a masterclass I did on the book. I'm giving you a free bonus for that. You can have full access to that. It's a remarkable experience. The third area is if you find yourself, you don't know what to do next in life, you're feeling kind of stuck, I put a really awesome thing called 25 Things to Stop Doing Immediately. It is written in a way that should make you laugh and also get going. So with that, friends, I appreciate you having me on here today. It is an extreme pleasure to be here. And remember that success is not about being the loudest voice in the room, but by surrounding yourself with people who care what you do and how you do it enough to speak on your behalf. And so with that, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Katrina. If anyone has any questions, you can use the Q&A feature. I also put a link to your book on Amazon in the chat as well. But
Thank you.
Thanks. We got some reactions already with some high fives and claps.
Thank you.
Question: what made you take the leap to write your own book, and what advice would you give to someone who is interested in starting that journey?
Great question. I found myself in a pivot of life where one chapter was ending and another one needed to begin. And in the quiet moments of some mornings as I prayed, I know that God speaks to us differently. And usually he speaks to me quietly, and I have to be very, very observant and obedient in order to hear. And so for me, writing the book was a whisper by God to say, now's the time. You have earned the right. And this works. Show people how to build community. And so that's why I wrote it. I never thought of myself as an author, but I will say the most important part about writing your manuscript is that you just start writing and you commit to writing. Then when you move to the publishing stage, choosing a publisher to not only publish your book, but to prepare for your launch and release, that was the most critical decision I could have made. I had really successful release results because of the publisher that I partnered with.
Thank you. Sarah and Mark just made a comment. Thank you for the very great information.
Thank you.
We haven't had any other questions come in. As always, we will send out a recording to everyone for the webinar, as well as information about next month's webinar, which is going to be Thursday, April 3rd with Dr. Tim Nash. So we hope everyone joins us. We'll give it maybe 2 more seconds to let's see if any more comments or questions come in. Another great information. Just more comments for you. Thank you so much, Katrina.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to see you next month for our next webinar. Have a great day.